this time, I shall kill him.
Master Jocken, better not ask him unnecessary questions, or else he said that he's going to kill you.
Okay.
Hey guys, what's up? It's BigJackFilms here, and welcome back to the InuYasha vlogs, and we're finally here! This is the three-part season finale of Season 3. Now, funny enough, I was originally going to do this as doing the first episode as a filler, and then move on to the season finale, but it turns out watching this filler that I just did, it is actually part of the two-part finale, which I thought was kind of interesting. So this is actually a three-part story arc, and it is the season finale of Season 3. And what you're going to be seeing in this video, because I have about 35 minutes left of battery on this camera to discuss this three-parter, is you're not only going to get my thoughts on this episode, but my overall opinions on Season 3. So, with that being said, let's start with the first episode called Jocken's plan to steal the Tetsaiga, and it's actually kind of an interesting storyline because you have it, obviously, the episode is pretty simple. It is sort of filler where Jocken wants to steal the Tetsaiga to give to Sesshomaru and so on. Now, what's interesting about this episode is that it actually is pretty lighthearted, pretty comedic, kind of plays off as sort of like a Roadrunner Coyote cartoon where it's like, oh, here's my next plan, and then it fails, and it flops, and you know, it's like, it's classic, you know, Looney Tunes, Tom and Jerry-esque shenanigans with this episode. But unlike that going on, it actually did something that really surprised me, and that is one thing about Jocken, who's our character in this episode, our central character, is that we know about him as being sort of Sesshomaru's vassal, his servant. He's like the Yoda that walks around. But we don't really know much about his history, how he met Sesshomaru, how he got the Staff of Two Heads, and all that jazz. Well, surprisingly, this episode does explain those things. We find out that Jocken, in a flashback, which I love in the flashbacks of Season 3, they're all in sepia tone, so it's sort of like black and white, which I think is kind of cool. But anyway, Jocken had servants at his disposal. He had an army. He actually had his own sword, and he actually went into this massive battle with this demon, which I think is kind of cool that we got to see almost Jocken in his prime, where he was like a warrior and a warlord, and he served these other little frog minions and stuff. So it's kind of very Dark Crystal-esque. It's like, I just imagine it's just a bunch of Muppets fighting each other. But anyway, Jocken is about to be killed by this demon until Sesshomaru shows up, says, "Move, bitch, get out the way," and Jocken is forever in his depth, literally like Jar Jar in the Phantom Menace, saying, like, "Me, Jar Jar Binks, me, a humble servant," and you know, he just follows Sesshomaru, and Sesshomaru's like, "Fuck off," and Jocken's like, "No, I want to serve you," and he's like, "Okay, fine, only if you can handle the stick I gave you," and he gives him the Staff of Two Heads, which was in a waterfall. I don't know where Sesshomaru got the staff. Now that's a story. Where'd Sesshomaru get the staff? That's what I'm curious about. What's the history behind the staff? Because the staff is actually, believe it or not, part of actual Japanese mythology, which is pretty cool. I learned that on the second movie DVD. But anyway, so that's how we got to see Jocken become his vassal, which I thought was pretty cool. We got to see a back history, so this episode does have a lot of depth to it. But other than that, the episode is, again, very Tom and Jerry, very Roadrunner Coyote. And even some of the characters, I'll admit, are a little off. For example, InuYasha, Sesshomaru, or InuYasha, Kagome, Sangoro, and the whole Fellowship really have nothing to do with this episode other than be completely oblivious to Jocken's scheme, and they are essentially the Roadrunner in this case. But they act a little out of character. They spend a whole time trekking through their journey playing rock, paper, scissors. Now, for one, that is a common trope in anime to see anime characters playing rock, paper, scissors. I mean, even like Dragon Ball Z did that with like the Ginyu Force and stuff. But then you have basically Kagome teaching them how to play rock, paper, scissors, and it's all fun and dandy, but it's like, it feels kind of off. Maybe it's because we've been through so much darkness that we've forgotten what lightheartedness is, so it comes out of nowhere, and I feel like, I don't know, it was kind of weird. I was just like, guys, we might want to pick up the pace here. I get you're bored searching for the jewels in Naraku, but let's pick up the pace here, and let's keep going with our quest. And it felt kind of off, but other than that, the episode's actually not half bad. It's actually really fun. I love the hot spring scene because it's sort of a role reversal, because normally with hot spring scenes you get the girls in there. This time you have the guys, and there's a great, hilarious scene where Kagome runs in to find InuYasha, and he's like laying down, I guess you can see the down area, and she's like, oh god! So it's like, huh. So literally, it's funny because I feel like it's the equivalent of just Brian Griffin in Family Guy when he sees like Peter's schwank. So it's just like, huh. So that's what InuYasha's penis looks like. You know, it's just that, it's kind of, they don't show it, but it's like, you know, it's sort of implied that she saw it, so it's like, huh. Anyway, so the episode kind of ends sort of in that fashion, like sort of comedic on, oh, hey, we're kind of going back to normal, but the gang, like the Fellowship, actually see Rin, and they've never seen Rin before because Sesshomaru has been very secretive of that. And you think, okay, well, the episode's just gonna end, you know, all's well that ends well, InuYasha will get Jocken some other time. But nope! Right at the very end of the episode, Kagra kidnaps Rin, which leads to the two-parter of this storyline, where basically Naraku has kidnapped Rin and is using her as bait to lure Sesshomaru to his castle. Naraku is there. And it's not a puppet, it's actually Naraku. And Sesshomaru and Jocken go to, you know, obviously take out Naraku, as well as InuYasha, like, and the group. They're all sleeping, and then InuYasha's like, oh shit, like, middle of the night. They realize Naraku's pretty close by, and they're like, huddle up, let's freaking go, we gotta get this son of a bitch. So they follow suit with Sesshomaru. Meanwhile, Rin is actually in the care of Kohaku, protected by a big wall of, like, you know, a huge thing of demons surrounded, but Kohaku's there to protect her. But little do we know, obviously, Naraku has a scheme up his ass. So the episode has this amazing battle, this huge final battle, where you have Kagra and all the demons fighting, you know, InuYasha in the group, and you have Sesshomaru encountering Naraku. And Naraku actually takes on a new form, you know, fools, this isn't even my final form! And basically becomes sort of John Carpenter's The Thing with Naraku's torso. And it's friggin' awesome. This is a form that I don't really think has a name for him. And I just, no, at first I thought this was sort of his, you know, contagious form, meaning like it's all just all over the place. But I see it more as his healing form, meaning because he's using parts of several demons to create his own body, it's all over the place. Like, he's just got tentacles here, he's got little crab claws. It's actually a great design. I really like this. Like, this could, if you did this in live action, you could do this, like, with CGI, you could do this with stop motion even, like claymation. That would be actually kind of rad. So you have this whole battle with Sesshomaru, and honestly, Naraku is still healing from his last encounter. Like, he's still recovering, and on top of that, he's got his barrier, so he's thinking, huh, you know, InuYasha's got no chance against me. But nope, just as promised, as when he obtains the new power, InuYasha shows off his new skills with the Red Tetsaiga, and is like cutting, but him and Sesshomaru are cutting the hell out of Naraku. They are shredding him to pieces, and all this stuff's going on. You have Kagra on one hand also trying to say, finally I can get these two brothers to kill this fucker so I can be free of him. And it's this amazing fun battle. Like, it's epic, it's massive. It kind of comes out of nowhere. It feels very abrupt, but it's fun. You have Sesshomaru at one point going all red in the demon form, and then, honestly, because Naraku realizes, oh, I thought I could take on Sesshomaru, oh, shit, InuYasha has broken through my barrier. Well, I'm screwed. I'm gonna take the fuck out of here, and, you know, he obviously flees and retreats. Again, Naraku is very much like General Grievous in Star Wars, but he basically escapes, and not just escapes, he disappears without a trace. Like, he's just gone. Now, he's still alive, but we don't know where he went. He's just destroyed all the evidence of his tracks. He's left no trace behind. Now it's like, well, shit, we're gonna have a lot harder time finding him now. And it kind of ends on that note, but then, last bit of, ha ha ha, fuck you guys before I leave, hey Shishomaru, you know your little girl that's following you around? Well, he's under the care of my servant who's going to kill her. You might want to go kill this child. So Shishomaru takes off to get Rin and comes across Kohaku and, you know, like grabs him by the throat, and you're thinking, oh no, now Sango's gonna get involved, and it's so crazy how much Naraku is just fucking with all these characters, and that's what makes him as a villain so goddamn great. I love it. And basically it ends where they all kind of come to a standstill. Kagura takes Kohaku back, they retreat. Sesshomaru does not kill him. Rin is back in the care of Sesshomaru and Jokin, which, by the way, later on in the Jokin episode, we get to see some cool fight. Like, Jokin in this episode actually does some fun stuff. Like, he actually does become a bit more action-oriented active in this episode. You have him using the staff of two hands like Gandalf, like, you shall not pass! And using flamethrowers and shit. So every character gets a chance to use their abilities in this episode, except for Moroku. I feel Moroku got kind of shunned out. But it's a decent finale, all things considered. And I love how this episode ends, like how this finale ends, where obviously the characters are now back, you know, continuing to find them. They might as well try to find them however they can, Naraku, or take a break, whatever seems considerate. But the episode ends with the ruins of Naraku's castle. It's all abandoned, it's all burned, it's all destroyed, and we see just Kikyo at the very tail end of the race, and she's like, damn, I thought I was closer. She just sees that this is where Naraku was, she's lost trace of him, and she's like, well, fuck. I gotta find this guy, and it just ends with, where is Naraku? And that's where we end Season 3, and it's like, wow, it just tossed us, like, did a 180 where you think, okay, it's just gonna end with some filler, is it gonna be impactful? But there's some good backstory, there's a decent fight, and I'm not gonna lie when I say that this season finale, like, despite it having some great moments, was a bit sort of not only anticlimactic, but also kind of, abrupt and out of nowhere. It didn't feel earned, it didn't feel important. It's like when they were doing the tail end of the season, they completely forgot about Naraku, and they're like, oh right, Naraku, we better do something about this for the finale. So they kind of just brought him in at the 11th hour without really any build-up, which I know later seasons do. But this one felt a tad bit kind of off. Like, it didn't feel like really, like, earned, essentially, that they defeat Naraku just like that. And again, it just felt like kind of, I don't know if this part was in the manga, but it felt sort of abrupt to where they had to pass the time still to catch up with Takahashi in the manga. Now, granted, you know, like, there's so much filler in this series, and Takahashi was still writing at the time, and there are later seasons that do show more, and yes, Season 4 I know has a lot of filler, and I'm not looking forward to that, but anyway, yeah, this season finale was okay, it was alright, it had some fun moments, it had some great world building with Jokin, it developed the characters, you got characters meeting each other, you had, like, Rin and Kohaku meeting, you had Jokin and a few others meeting. You had, you know, Sango, I think, met Sesshomaru. It kind of passed by so quickly, which is another issue. But it's a decent finale for Season 3, and it, you know, it was pretty good. So I'd say check it out. It's about a 6 out of 10, a 7 out of 10. Not necessarily earned. It's an episode or a finale that you'll kind of forget about, but it does have some decent moments. So there's that. Now, overall, Season 3. I really dug this season, I think for sort of my second viewing, because I viewed mostly Seasons 1 and 2 the most. Season 3 has some great moments. It has a few filler episodes that you can pretty much skip, but it's got some decency. Personal favorite episodes of mine, I love the Faithful Knight and Togenshu arc, I love the Panther Tribe trilogy. There's a couple filler episodes I thought were actually pretty solid. And the Muso arc was also pretty good. There's a lot of back history. There's a lot of great moments that kind of expand the lore, expand the mythology, world building, back histories. It's all in this season. My only gripe is that it feels a tad too long. I know it's the usual around the last 2 seasons where it's about 25 episodes. I think there's maybe even 30. I'm not 100%. In this box set, there's like 5 discs. So it's as long as a Lord of the Rings box set, but it does feel a tad too long. Maybe they had a few extra episodes and I felt like you could have cut 1 or 2 out, maybe save them for a later season, but it was okay. It was alright for what it was worth with Season 3. I really had a blast with it. I mean, compared to the last 2 seasons, which were fantastic, this one's about a, pretty much sort of a, I'd say 75% good. There are some moments that do drag, and there are a few filler episodes I don't really care for, but I liked it. It was pretty solid, and I had a really good time watching Season 3, and it was good to kind of watch it all the way through and share my thoughts on it with you guys, because this is sort of my first time. The same's going to go for later seasons, of course. You're going to see more kind of first impressions on this, because I adored the first 2 seasons and the movies, and thought of it that thoroughly. But, of course, let me know your thoughts on this season finale and Season 3 in the comments below. Now, in terms of Season 4, we are going to be doing vlogs on those, of course, onwards. However, I'm going to take a bit of a break next week and basically discuss sort of not just the future of the vlogs, but I also want to discuss what I'm going to be doing with some of the movies, as well as an update regarding Yashahime, because those Yashahime videos I did actually did pretty solid when they came out, so I figured I'd do an update, discuss my thoughts on what I want to see from Season 2, as well as just sort of the show in general. I'll give the first impression on Season 1, but yeah, you're going to be seeing sort of a break vlog next week. So, of course, don't forget to support our Patreon. Just $1 more will get you access to all of our content, as well as other special features, and all the funds will be going towards our show, a potential InuYasha fan film down the line, and amongst other things. So, until the next video, guys, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys later. This is BigJackFilms signing off, saying, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not looking forward to Season 4. God help me. Alright, until then, I'll see you guys later. Take it easy.